Hey, and a very warm welcome to the Into the LightWeb podcast with me, your hostess, Joanna Hunter, metaphysical teacher, spiritual life and business coach, published author, and the high priestess of the LightWeb, a spiritual technology that will change your life. This is the place to be to talk everything under the LightWeb, from consciousness, relationships, to money, to spiritual business, and everything in between. Hi, it's Joanna Hunter here from joannahunter.com, and we are here with another episode of Into the LightWeb podcast, and I am joined by my beautiful, wonderful client, Amma. Amma, come and introduce yourself officially and tell people what it is that you do in the world.
Hi. Yes, I'm a spiritual mentor. I'm in Finland, like you maybe can hear. I'm not native speaker, but I have been working and studying in English. So I'm mainly working here in Finland. I'm also angel guide. So angels are close to my world, and I work with angels, spirit guides, help people to connect with spiritual world, and especially the guides, beautiful guides that we are surrounded by.
Amazing. People might be quite shocked to hear, as you're talking about angels and angel guides and connecting with energies and all of that jazz, that you actually started off life as a scientist.
Yes, I have been working for more than 20 years as aquatic scientist and in international science, and so I have really kind of non-spiritual background, and also I wasn't aware of any of this until maybe 13 years ago. This invisible world starting to approach me, and then it became louder and louder, and it was of course really scary to kind of when these two worlds started to combine, something totally controversial, and I was working in international projects. I had a group of scientists working under me, and I was leading projects, and it was the most difficult and scary thing to even think that I would start to share any of this, really.
I want to just take a moment to really appreciate what it's taken you as a human being to be the leader and spiritual coach that you are today, right? Because you've gone from this major left-brained, major scientific background. You're working at a very high level within the science. You've got a team of scientists behind you and with you that are working with you on these projects and things, and you're leading these projects. And then the spirit world, as she does, starts to encroach in, and you obviously go through this. Like, I think many people can really empathize with this. Like, you go through this of like, I'm losing my mind, I must be crazy, like all of those feelings. But for you to have taken that arc even further, from not just having a personal spiritual experience, but realizing that this is your whole heart and soul, and that you want to share this with other people and help them to awaken to these energies, help them to have these experiences for themselves. I mean, that is such a massive arc that you have taken. And I just want to acknowledge that, because I think that's so powerful, because a lot of people might have let that inner ego win and be like, oh God, I can't tell Dave at work that I speak to angels, but I mean, there's some point of you where you've had to be like, get over that feeling inside of like, God, I hope that, I hope this group of scientists never hear that I speak to angels, but at some point you've had to let go of the fear of that, and the fear, and walk through that, and talk us a little bit through of what that was like to lead yourself through something like that. Because I mean, I know from personal experience, that is the ego battle royale. You are battling with your ego.
Yes, it certainly was, and especially because the beautiful scientific institute where I worked, it was totally non-spiritual, and we used to make fun of all the woo-woo, like, oh, that's so funny, and how stupid one. And then that was that, and also including myself. But then the thing is that the way spirit approached me, it was so practical and it was so real that it was not anything that I could argue that it is not true, it is not happening, because I saw, I sensed, it was made for me so true, and so it was not, there was no option that it was not happening, because I started to see things, and I saw my dead grandmother, for example, and things like that, like quite, now I think it's quite normal, but then it was the most scary thing you can imagine. And the first one was 2009. That was I was in old building, and it was scientific course in old place which used to be a mental hospital. It had been like,
oh God, I can imagine the energy in there.
Yeah, you can imagine what it was, and I had some experiences there earlier, but then I woke up. There was baby was crying, and I thought it was my child, because at that time my child was only like 3 years old, and I thought I'm at home and it is my child. So I woke up and there was a woman standing and holding a child, and they were both really scared, and I was, oh, what is happening? And I turned on light, and they were still standing there. They didn't say anything, but the baby was crying, and then suddenly it disappeared. And then I found out that actually the mental hospital, many of the people were staying there like whole life, and of course they had relationships, and there were some babies born, and this was the room where I was staying, exactly that room. It was place where those mothers, after the baby had been taken away from them, they were kind of closed to cry, and the panic I sensed in those people was because of that. And so they were so real, and it was like, and it was, this happened, and then week after that I was told by somebody who of course didn't know anything about my experience, because I didn't tell anyone. And then he told that, oh, there used to be this kind of history, and especially in that same room they were held. And so it started to become.
So Spirit really built for you like an arena in which you could really trust, right? Because you had the experience, you told no one, and then the confirmation came a week later, and some guy is literally like going, oh yeah, and then they had babies and things, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. But and I think in a way that is really classic of how Spirit often builds trust. That you can really trust this information that you're seeing, that you're not going mad, that it is trustworthy information that you can tap into. So tell us a little bit about your journey of starting to make that transition from full-time scientist to full-time spiritual teacher.
Yeah, it was long journey, and it took many years, because then what happened, because I was this experience was 2009. Then my grandmother came 2012, and it was not until 2015 I broke my leg, and there was a long sick leave from my work. I think it was almost 2 months, and that was I had been escaping those spiritual experiences. So I had been working really, really hard, like burning my candle from both sides, and I even used to say that but I always have to have music or some audiobook because they're so loud. There's so much noise in my head, because I felt that my guides were like saying that, hey, wake up, you need to stop, and we need to talk to you, and I was escaping. So it was this sick leave was that stopped me, and I realized how really tired I was, but then also started to again have these experiences, and then when it continued for a couple of years, then I decided to give up, because they became stronger and stronger and louder. There were all kinds of experiences in this physical world. And then I was guided to meet somebody who had background in Finnish kind of natural wisdom based knowledge, and it was especially understanding vibration. Like I just recently knew the English name. It's dawning, isn't it, when you have this kind of thing, and then you are
dowsing.
Yeah, how do you pronounce it?
Dowsing.
Dowsing, yes.
Dowsing, yeah.
So, but it was not only ley lines.
Or divining. It can be known as divining as well. So water divining or water dowsing is normally done for like finding where water is. A lot of people used to use it like that in the olden days.
Yeah. So I found that I have full ability to use this tool, and of course, as scientist, I was like, oh, okay, nice. I can measure things, and I can measure vibration. So again, I was approached in a way that really was understandable for me as biologist. So I had first I had this ability to measure vibration and find the ley lines and find the energy lines, but it was very quickly developing to kind of clear full clear senses, so that I was able to see and sense and feel and all that, and at that time I had two really separate worlds. I had my day work and then this secret growing secret invisible world, but it was kind of taking all my attention. I was so fascinated about all the things I found. I was studying, I was taking different kind of courses and learning more and more. And especially when the angels came into picture, and I kind of remembered my connection that I have been in my soul level. I have always been working with angels and connected with angels. So it became so attractive that I really started to manifest and dream that I would make the change. And it started from manifestation, really. Like I started to manifest that I want to be light worker. I had no idea however it could happen, but for it was actually only 1 year that
from when you set that intention.
Yeah, that intention, and then it was 2019. I was writing the intention that I'm international light worker, And then I was manifesting it for 1 year, not even really realizing that I was doing it, but especially from the beginning of 2020, it was like daily manifestation. I was manifesting, and I was also manifesting light, joy, and abundance as energy level, because for me it seems to be easier to manifest energies than anything else. And so I was saying, I am light, I am joy, I am abundance. I was writing daily. And then 2020, exactly the same day that I had been writing this intention that I'm international light worker, I did my first international client.
Amazing.
But then still in that point, I hadn't said anyone or anything at my work. I was working in English so that nobody would find me in Finland.
I love that.
So I had web page, but it was so hidden that nobody would find it.
Have you ever seen, you know, like on like movies like Indiana Jones and stuff, and where the walls start coming in like this? I always think about myself, like my own journey. Like I had one hand on the business coaching world, right? Because I used to coach like business clients, like corporate clients, people like Specsavers and Tesco's. They were part of some of my clients, right? So I was like, had my hand like this. And then I had my hand on like the spiritual world. And it was like I was trying to push them apart so that they would never meet, because I just didn't know how this kind of the more muggle world would react to the spiritual. Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, they should never meet. And it was so funny because I know that feeling so well of trying to keep pushing those two worlds apart and trying so hard. But then, you know, obviously both of those worlds exist inside you, that scientific world and then that spiritual world. And it's trying to balance that while doing major battle with the ego, because at the same time you're deathly terrified that the normal world is going to find out this weird and wacky secret that we've got, that we are woo-woo.
And then of course 2020 COVID came and changed everything, because then I was working at home. I was isolated from that group of people that I used to be very connected, and of course that was strengthening the separation from that workplace, and also there were some possibilities opening that I saw the possibility to rearrange my position there, and I was saying that I resign from all the leadership roles in that institute, and at first I was saying that I would like to focus on only one project and kind of step out from leading others and just work and focus on, well, it was the latest project I did was with Chinese lakes and Chinese government. So also that has changed recently. Many things have changed, and so COVID actually made it possible for me to step aside from where I used to be, and it was surprising how easily and with energy of ease and joy, suddenly there was somebody taking my place. I was able to step aside, and I started half-time. So the 2021 I was half-time working still in this China project and half-time light worker. But of course, before that was possible, there was one meeting it was in Teams meeting. We used to have these weekly meetings, and I said that I have something to tell. So there were like 20 people were like, okay, there's one thing I need to tell you. that I have new profession, kind of side profession, that nowadays I'm clairvoyant, spiritual healer. They were, what?
Ah.
There were a part of people were totally silent. They didn't say anything. They were just like, what? And then there were some who were sending emails later that, oh, that's so brave and that's great. But there was clearly separation that many were really upset.
I think that's the diving into the cold lake, right? You're standing on the edge, you know the water is cold, but you know that you have to do that. And it split the room, right? Like you had one that were completely closed to it, and then others that was like, wow, maybe I can emit my own little bit of woo-woo as well, right? It sets that thing. But I think it was I call that moment in people's lives the do or die moment, that you either do it or you die. You die on the hill, and you either do it or you die. And you jumped into that lake, you jumped in, you took that road that's less traveled, the courage, and did it. But it's that moment where you know that there's no going back.
It is, and it was really like I thought I felt that like I will die if I'm not doing it. It's like, and I also kind of saw the option I would be really frustrated, somehow would develop some sickness and frustration sickness, and really there was only one way to go, but it was the scariest thing you can imagine. Like I had been working with those people 20 years, and then and I hadn't said anything, and then suddenly like, oh, I see angels, and
Love it. I think the moment that I can relate to in my own journey was giving myself the permission to move my business online, and to give myself a permission to be really visible. And my jumping into the cold lake moment was changing my hair color to bright fuchsia pink. And there was no going back. There was no going back after that, because once that hair was dyed and it was completely bright fuchsia pink, there was no hiding anymore.
Yeah.
There was just that ownership of, this is what, I'm here to stand out. I'm not hiding anymore. And I think it's such a brave moment. And I think a lot of people can relate to maybe their own cold lake moment, of where they jump into that cold lake and they know that it's cold, but they know that it's necessary to do that moment. It's a do or die moment. And I knew that if I could change it sounds so bizarre, but I knew if I could change my hair color, there was no going back. There was like no going back. I wasn't going to go back the way anymore. I was really fully committing to the journey that I was on. And I think sometimes the journey asks that of us, to really commit to it. And that was a moment you committed to it, because from that point onwards, there was no hiding.
And there has been the next steps where that, like you said at the beginning, I knew that I'm supposed to be visible. So I shared the thing in my own Facebook page, in my LinkedIn profile, and then the first spring 21, there was a really big, like 3-page story in the county level newspaper that everybody's reading in this area. It was like what was the title in English? Like living with angels, like leaving the scientific career, because I was quite well known. Actually, that is the thing. I was not only in that workplace, but I had been leading this lake restoration project with a lot of publicity. So I was a well-known person. Almost I could say that in national level, but there was first this county level newspaper article, and that was really scary, because then I knew that, okay, my neighbors saw it, and not only Facebook people, but everyone. So I went to the food store, and people were like, that's
oh my goodness. Oh my
and then the next step, last fall in November, I was contacted by someone in the biggest Finnish tabloid, or the kind of what is it called? This kind of national paper.
right, okay.
National paper that you can buy from shops, and there is a big.
Yeah, so a newspaper, like a big newspaper, daily newspaper.
A big newspaper. And they wanted to make the interview of scientists who have decided to follow angels. and there I was in, and it is like everybody sees the headline, and everybody sees the paper, not only in county level, but it is the biggest newspaper.
Like a countrywide newspaper.
Countrywide, yes, yes.
So, and international as well, right? Because they probably have an online for people who don't live in the country but read the online newspaper thing.
So first I was like, no, that is no, I'm not doing it. But then my guys were like, breathe. This is not punishment. This is something good. And the interview was really, really nice. It was really like I was guided. The spirit was there, and actually also the story was really nice, and it really expanded my business.
Yeah. How did you get into my world? When did that happen? What year was that? And
it was actually, I think, even before I told at work. it was December 2020. I had already found Elisa Hartzell, and I was already in her Facebook group, and she was announcing that there is this cool experiment that would you like
the $1 million experiment.
Yes, and so that was the moment. It was just before Christmas, and then I was already in when you started. So 21, I was really following, or I was listening everything you said, basically.
And you decided then to jump in. Did you jump in? Was it Divine Planning, Abundant Profits, or did you do LightWeb next?
I did both. I did both.
You did both.
I think there were some. The first one was I think 555 teacher, some kind of one time.
Okay, session. The teaching one,
Yeah, that was the only thing I bought before joining these big programs. But then there were many free master classes, and especially there was I think it was July 21 when there was this portal.
The quantum portal,
quantum portal, and that was like boom. It was like I got it, and also there was this money workshop, which was really a game changer, because I started to think about abundance and money being energy, and kind of what to teach. So. And especially the quantum portal, I was in the moment, because surprise, my business was not so successful when I was hiding and doing it in English. And
of course. So you had, I remember you joining Divine Planning, Abundant Profits, and you were like that model student. You showed up for all the classes, you did the work, you applied the work, and you just had these phenomenal results of and that was, I just remember celebrating you leaving the day job finally, like we were done now with the day job, and being on that journey with you. And it was like, I just remember being, and it was just so exciting, hearing your excitement in your voice, hearing the excitement of like, I'm leaving the day job. I mean, it was just wonderful. Tell us about, applying divine planning abundant profits to your business. I think we had transitioned at that point into Finnish now, so no more hiding.
No, I was totally visible. Yes, yes, and the quantum portal I made the decision to leave my day work. It was like you were saying that you cannot like be
Yeah, you can't serve two masters, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to make a choice. Where are you going to go?
Yes, so I decided this is the way I go. I will be like, I had been manifesting, I am light worker. Yes, I am light worker. I'm not going back to my old work, or I'm not even continuing. I had option to continue with China project for another year at least. It is a half time, but I was like, no, it is now. I'm focusing my intention, and it will happen. And I think the main thing was that after listening, like I said, I listened to everything you said. Like I still do, but for the first year, I was like, I was breathing, like, because the way you work, it was because I had been on business mentoring courses. I was using money for that, but somehow it was not all these Facebook ads and there was
the systems and all that. It's not always it's not really fun time for a spiritual person, all of that,
No, because there was I was making the ads, and then there was also they went to like some people who don't know me at all, and there was a lot of negative feedback, and I didn't know how to sell. You can imagine that I was scientist. I had zero skills in selling, and I hated selling. I was like, oh, I can help everybody for free. Let's forget the money.
I remember that first call that me and you had, and I kind of had to give you a little kick in the pants, like a little one, but like I had to do that because you were really just giving so much away for free. I mean, that's your beautiful, huge, generous heart. But I was like, come on now, you're running a business. You can't keep doing this.
Exactly. And that was the thing was that the way you were doing your business, like making the kind of fun free workshops and celebrating with people and talking them and making live sessions and just being and like focusing on being and because the kind of traditional selling, it was taking me to this scarcity energy and this like you say, this Oliver Twist energy. Please buy, I need something.
Yeah, it's horrible, isn't it? It's just like the worst. That's like the worst energy. It's just like the worst. And you don't have to be like that to make an amazing living online. Like you can have so much fun with people, and you can invite them, come to the party, come and see what we've got, come and experience what we do. And it's just such a nicer vibe than the and then you're like, please buy something like that. Such a
no. So and it kind of also it was my way to do it, and I started to find it, and I was my spirit team was giving me really beautiful, like full downloads of smaller courses and people and of course there was this energy of ease and flow, and people just came and just enough, and then I think it was around when I joined Divine Planning Abundant. I was given this full download of whole program that I have been now running. And that was the success then when I was
you had a huge, like multiple 5-figure launch
Yeah.
literally out the gate. I mean, it was just extraordinary to watch, and it
Yeah.
was so much fun, and it was so light. And I think for you, it was that confirmation of like, I can really make this work
Yeah.
as a business.
Yeah. Yeah, there have been others after that, because of course it was not like one time.
Absolutely. There's been,
It's
you've had many
yeah.
other successful launches since then too, but it's been, I mean, it's been amazing to watch your journey unfold, and and how courageous you've been in it. And it's not a journey without its challenges. Like, there's been challenges and big challenges sometimes, but you have risen to like every occasion. Every single challenge that you have met, you have really risen to that challenge. And I always joke that training day for Spirit is rough. Like, they do really put you like the Spirit only train the best, so they do really put us through it. And it is, and it's so, takes such much courage to rise to the challenges and stuff. But it's been amazing to be supporting you and seeing you in the work, and seeing your community grow, seeing your business grow, seeing how many people, there's so many people in your world that, obviously in Finland, yes, there is spiritual people in Finland, obviously, and there are everywhere in the world, but there's probably not so many teachers who actually teach in Finnish, right? There's probably like access to more teachers who maybe teach in English, for instance. And it's so lovely that you're offering this service to the people of Finland, and helping them to have this personal relationship with the divine and their angels, and connecting, and all of the healing that happens.
Yeah, actually, I have now found out, fortunately, only now I have found out that actually there are many teachers in Finland. So there's a lot of competition. I'm lucky that I didn't know that, because I think that would have been like, no, I can't do it. But I didn't know it, because I like like I described, I had been hiding, and I didn't know anyone in spiritual community, because I hadn't participated any of that. It was
Okay. Oh my God, I love that. I love that.
so I just I created my business, and then only now I see that people have been, but there is so much competition in Finland, that how can you come and create like this kind of big community of people.
Amma's #1 tip: don't even connect with the community, just do it.
Yeah, yeah, that's the best advice. And also I think that what is missing is maybe like person like me who has this background of being normal and then becoming visible. Like many spiritual people are like, well, I have always been so spiritual, and but I am like, oh, this happened to me, it can happen to you. And then also I think like I'm 53 years old, and I see that my kind of soul clients are around my age or a little bit older. Many of my soul clients are so that they have just retired, and they have a lot of time. They have a lot of they have invitation. They have soul mission to help others to learn more about spirituality, and to help kind of be channel of angelic energies, or being channel of galactic energies, which I feel that are my speciality, to really like bring in the galactic energies into the earth. And so I think there is a special group of people who just have been kind of waiting for me to come. That sounds fun, but like I think
it's so true. I think if you have this as your mission to be, a light worker, and to be this, there is soul contracts that you have, like you have made soul contracts with other souls, long before you got here.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
they've literally been waiting on you to get your backside in gear and get your work out there so that they can find you, you know?
Yeah.
And I find that, I mean, I know that our paths crossed because of a soul contract, you know, and we were definitely destined to do this thing together and for me
Yes.
to help you, to show you an easier way of running your business. And I mean, since then you've joined the 100, you're one of our light bringers, you know, it has been such a beautiful journey that we have been on together. And I know 100% that long before we decided to even do this human thing, we made that contract.
Yeah.
Of coming.
Yeah, I totally agree, because it is funny, because even now when all is coming, all that I have been dreaming, all that I have been manifesting, it is like harvest time for me now, that it is coming visible. And on Saturday I will go to my amazing dream trip to Bali to work with ley lines, and and so it is all happening now, but still there's part of me who is so much struggling with expansion and receiving and being worth of all this. There has been so much lack, there's been so much kind of and there's so many learning experiences still left. And but it is so beautiful, because every time I see that Joanna is live, I know that this is okay. Listen, my guides are saying, open the phone and listen. now she's talking to you.
I love that. I love that. Do you know what I was saying to my assistant earlier on today? We were having a chat, and Janu, who's also in the 100, I was interviewing her, and she said her guides had said, go with Joanna, like let Joanna be your teacher. And I'm like, do you get any higher endorsement than spirit endorsing you? You know, and your guides are like, listen. But for me, I'm like, for me, it's like, is there a higher endorsement than that? I don't think so. Of like when people's guides literally say,
yeah,
you know, and for me, it's so important that I work with integrity, that I work with source, that I work, and it is one source, right? So your guides are connected to that one source. We're all connected to that one source. And it's such an amazing endorsement for me when somebody is saying to me, and I'm hugely flattered when you tell me things like that, and you say, my guides told me to listen, you know, and really, you know, pay attention here and absorb this good stuff. And I think this is it. And it's them, you know, is there something else I wanted to pick up on that you said, you know, about there's been a lot of lack, and it's how we're conditioned, you know, this whole world is so conditioned into this, like the competition, the dog eat dog, there isn't enough. We are not trained to be in that appreciation of the abundance. We are trained to look for how isn't there enough, you know, that contract,
have more and more and more and bigger car, and if you like also the
and the more and more culture, but the more and more culture is feeding that lack consciousness, right? Like it's because it tells you can have more, so you think that's abundance, but it's not, because it just throws you into that spiral of lack of like, oh my God, I got it, you know, like so the hustle, the chasing, the pushing, and things. And it is, and for me, in my own journey, I know that uncoupling, like removing all that energy and being like, yeah, okay, I see you, but that is not how I choose to live my life. And then putting that to one side and things, that's been my biggest journey. And I think that's what, for me, a big part of my teaching is to use my teaching almost as a daily reminder as well for myself, that there is this abundant world available, and that we need but only tap into it from the internal energy. But it relies on us to be open to the receiving, of allowing ourselves to fully receive. And that's, you know, like your business is like blowing up and there's like all excitement and that. And on one level, it's so exciting. And on the other level, it's so terrifying, because you're like, who am I to accept all this goodness? Who am I to have it so easy? And then you'll hear somebody that are like really struggling. And then how do you balance that? How do you not feel guilty if they're struggling and you're finding it easy? It's like, you know, and it's so much human stuff to navigate. And that's what I love about like the 100 container or the containers that you're in, because we help you navigate all that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I joined, because I knew that it will expand and it will come, but I also knew that I really need your container to kind of get the support, because it was so scary, and so it was as I would say that it is almost as different as than being scientist and spiritual teacher, than being always in lack and then expanding in abundance, because it is totally different mindset to be
Really,
work.
and it also feels very alien.
Yeah.
Right? Because if lack is all you've ever known, unfortunately, it feels comfortable, because that's what you've known all your life. And so suddenly, you know, you start harnessing the universal laws, and money starts expanding, and abundance starts expanding, and helpful people start showing up. And it's hard not to be frightened by that to begin with, to think, you know, I remember when the first I was, you know, manifesting this, but I remember when the first sort of really helpful people started showing up in my life, just wanting to help for the sake of helping, you know, and I remember regarding them with such suspicion, being very suspicious, like, what do you want? You know, and they're like, yeah, we just want to help you. And I'm like, really? You know, and it wasn't that. And that showed me, that was the key for me, that showed me it isn't that the universe is mean and holds back. The universe is giving. It is that you're holding back. And that was like an aha moment for me, of like realizing I can be open to receiving. And then I had to like really work on that part of me, the part of me that was suspicious, the part of me that was terrified that if I accept this, this will mean that I owe them something, you know. That was a hard thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and now I think really important learning recently is what you have been talking. I think also in your HEAL program, but maybe even earlier, that this it was in Lightbringer that you were talking about this law of duality, that when you are increasing, you have to be prepared to increase to not only to
Both sides,
but both sides, also to your shadow. And that kind of explained what, because it has really been expansion. It has been like, but it has been to both sides, because there has been these really like mud coming out, like being not worth of everything, and inner child wounds, and I was wondering why is it, why can't it only be this brightness and joy and abundance, but when you explained that law, which I probably knew, but I didn't, it was not, I didn't
like integrated.
Yeah. So it was only then that, okay, yes, this is the thing, that I'm really expanding, and I'm expanding also to my shadow, not only to love.
Let's touch on that law, because I think this is a really great conversation, actually. So the law of duality simply states, for every energy, there's an equal and opposite energy. But the meaning of that means that as we expand the light, we must also expand the darkness to the same degree. Now, I call this light washing, because the spiritual community is very, very prevalent in light washing, right? Like, you know, if you've got your spiritual shit together, you're just so happy clappy, everything is wonderful, everything is great, you're shining rainbows and light 24/7. And the thing is that if you are actually expanding the light, your capacity for darkness also expands. What makes you a badass is that you keep choosing the light, right? That's what makes you the spiritual badass. And I think so many people, they don't teach that aspect. And yet it makes, when I first got that download from Skylar, and I first got that teaching from Skylar, it made such utter sense, because I was like, of course, so many people's spiritual awakenings start with deep depression. Like, of course, because it's literally the dark gets expanded, and then equally the light gets expanded. And at some point, that person that's going through that deep depression or that deep energy, and it's not feeling good, they get sick of their own bullshit, and they're like, enough is enough is enough. And that's the moment they expand into the light. But before, they could only maybe get to that level of light, and now they're moving to that, like they've increased because they've been in this darkness, in the dark hole. And of course, the journey of moving out of that darkness, moving out of that dark hole into the light, it's usually ends up becoming the thing that they teach others to do as well, you know. And it's a massive thing. But so many, I think there's so many spiritual teachers out there that really light-wash the crap out of everything, and like, just be like, you've just got to be light all the time. And I'm like, but life's not like that.
No,
Life
no,
has
no.
ups and downs and challenges. And, you know, I don't think I would be me if I didn't have moments of feeling low and feeling bad about something, you know. I think that's just a natural part of life, that we have moments where we are in the contrast to that light.
Yeah, but I love the teaching that there's two energies, void and source, because then that actually made me really source aligned and source connected, and this is also what I'm teaching, and I feel that it is also it is so kind of source.
Absolutely, that's the choice that we make.
Yeah, so it's only choice that you have this, like you are always teaching that you have to be so that you have to find the void, and the void is hiding there. And I think that is the kind of major teaching, that because the raising the vibration is the aim, and then the source connection is the solution. And I love the teaching that for every problem there's only one solution. That it is always.
I love that. I mean, that was game changing for me as well, realizing that every single problem on this planet was one problem, lack consciousness, and every solution was literally source connection. I was like holy moly.
Yeah, I think that was actually the one thing that when I had been listening for you like half a year, and then when I somehow I really got that okay, it is this source and void, and that made me choose all the programs which I did. I joined first Divine Planning, Abundant Profits, and then LightWeb. And I wanted to join Lightbringer already last year, but I just didn't have enough money finally to do it. And also maybe it was also not time, because I had my program starting, and I had to focus on that at time.
But I also think as well, like between you actually joining the 100 and that you went through that big like expansion, and you had, you know, like you had that whole situation, and you went through that, and then it was like there was this beautiful moment in that situation, because I remember you coming on one of the Deepak calls, and you were saying like, I'm really going through it. And, you know, and as you went through that situation of like that reclaiming the leadership and going, no, actually, they don't get to say that about me. They don't get to decide for me. I get to decide for me. And you stepped up into your leadership. And Lightbringer is about being a leader of the light and bringing in, you know, and so it was like, you had to get ready for like that. You had to be like, I think that's when the last of your people pleaser was literally like laid to rest.
Yeah, that is so true. And so now it was already also with Lightbringer this year. There was a kind of interesting situation that I had been manifesting it, but the timing was really a challenge, because I was middle of my courses, and especially this trip that there I have been guided to travel and see the ley lines of Earth. And the first path, which was Scotland, I think I was quite near you, but our schedule was so tight that I was not able to meet you. But I was traveling, and I was planning to go to Bali, and I was like, it's all coming to me, that how can I manage everything, and with case studies in Lightbringer. But there was always also a moment when you told me that find your inner leadership and just do it. And I was like, okay, I will do it. And then I was able to.
And you, like every single time, you rose to that challenge and you did it. And you know, and it's been amazing. And your feedback has been, I can't wait to share your feedback from Lightbringer. It's been amazing.
Yeah, it was. And then I was so proud of myself. Like last week, for a moment, I was like, this poor little Milo was like, no, there's too many harvests, too many cucumbers coming to my harvest. It's falling over me. I'm drowning in cucumbers.
I've got to get Jennifer on this podcast and tell us the cucumber story, because it's brilliant. It's such a good story, but it was like. I have been hearing about the too many cucumbers, and I felt like that last That's
week.
what it is. That's what it feels like, right? When the abundance, and it's like, no, it's okay. We can take a breath. Like, we are never given more abundance than we can handle. We will always be able to handle it. It's just that illusion that we can't handle it all. And you did. You've sailed through it. You've done it.
I did all the case studies this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So
amazing. It's so magical.
And it was improving all the time. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the tools. First, there was a bit of the challenge, because it is my daily work that I do this kind of healing and training, and of course I have my own tools, and then how to combine these extra tools. But I was the key, and I was also teaching it one of the clients that it's not your human who is doing the healing and the work that we do, but you always kind of take your human, you can wrap the energy of compassion around her and say, stay there, be quiet. my soul is working here.
Oh, amazing. I love that visual of wrapping her around with compassion and just saying, time for the big people to talk now, you know. Oh, bless. I could literally talk to you all day, but tell us where people can find you on the internet, because where is one place that they can find you, and then we'll link all the other places so that they can get some of your magic and goodness. So where can they find you on the internet?
It is my webpage, ammaventelä.com. So there I also
will link that below and have all the links. And how's that for visibility? A website with your own name?
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, I copied you. I thought, because I had been hiding behind all kind of names like light, joy, abundance. So I'm Amma. It's my page. It's ammaventelä.com.
I love that. I love that. I mean, what a journey of leadership and ownership we have been on together, and just seeing you blossom, seeing you shine, seeing you share such powerful energies out in the world. For me, it's just been such a joy and a privilege, and just to see you. And I know that you are just going to continue to go from strength to strength.
Yeah, I'm learning to develop my big dream. It is a little bit difficult, but I will get there. That is my aim.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming in today and doing this interview with us.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.